Hey everyone, hope you're having an amazing day. It's Code Karen. Welcome to r/Am I the A-hole, where we have an incredible story with comments and updates. If you're new to this channel, a sub would be great. Let's jump to the story. Am I the a-hole for threatening to call off my wedding because my fiancé disapproves of my female best man? I proposed to my girlfriend Jasmine in March. I am 28 and she is 24. Earlier this week, we were talking wedding plans. She already picked out her bridesmaids and asked me about my groomsmen so she could see who'd walk with whom and all that stuff. I told her that my best man was actually going to be my friend Kate. Jasmine freaked and was really adamant about a woman not being the best man. I asked her why, and she listed a lot of reasons, none of which I believe. She said it'll look weird in the photos. It'll be weird when Kate has to walk down the aisle with her maid of honor, that she doesn't want Kate to be distracting to guests, that Kate's too short? WTF? To stand next to a bunch of 6-foot-plus guys. The reasons were ridiculous, and I told her as much. She told me I should respect her wishes for the wedding and gave me suggestions for other best men. I believe the real reason might be jealousy, but I don't want to give in and go along with her insecurities. We ended up getting into a big argument. Jasmine was upset that I wasn't budging on my decision, and I was mad she was acting so irrational. She was being really accusatory about why I wanted Kate in the wedding so much. I finally told her, if she doesn't want me to have this one thing, maybe there shouldn't be a wedding at all. She got really angry and told me to just leave our apartment. I've been couch surfing at a friend's for the past couple days. Last time I tried to talk to Jasmine, she asked if I was ready to apologize, and I said no, because I don't want her to think she was right about forbidding me from letting Kate be in the wedding. And before anyone asks, no, Kate and I have never been sexual or romantic. She's been one of my closest friends and introduced me to my current social circle. I used to be an awkward, nerdy guy who had trouble making friends, and now I'm an awkward, nerdy guy with a social life. We survived grad school together, and she's been with me through the highs and lows of my life, and it seems insane to not include her in my wedding. Jasmine and Kate know each other, but aren't friends. And over time, Jasmine got used to me having a close female friend without being jealous or mistrusting. Or so I thought. Am I the a-hole for insisting on a female as my best man? Edit. I should mention, Jasmine has never acted this way before and is usually pretty easygoing and understanding. And she didn't so much as kick me out, as she said, well, maybe you should just go then, and I called her bluff and left. She tried to get me to come back and also apologize, but we're both hard-headed when it comes to what we want. I don't want to call off the wedding, and I get why Jasmine was upset by me saying we should, but I wanted her to know how serious I was. Edit 2. I went back home today after cooling off, and Jasmine and I had a long talk, and I'm not going into the boring details, but we're not calling off the wedding. We're going to talk about this more and try to come up with a solution that will make us both happy. No idea what that is yet. And just to address a few things I've seen a lot of, no, Kate is not single. Jasmine and Kate are friendly, but they aren't friends. I'm not very close to any of Jasmine's friends either. Kate and I have known each other for almost 7 years. I've been with Jasmine for 2. I am not attracted to Kate, and we're not going to run off into the sunset together. Stop watching bad rom-coms. It's 2020. I can be friends with a woman without wanting to sleep with her. I'm not choosing another woman over Jasmine. If Kate were a man and Jasmine didn't want him in the wedding, I'd have a right to be mad. But since Kate's a woman, suddenly I don't love my fiancé? That's BS. BKP 1996 says, not the a-hole. This wedding is just as much your day as it is hers, and you absolutely deserve to have someone up there that you can trust as your best woman/man. Your fiancé needs to not only recognize that, but also figure out what insecurity is calling her to lash out at you. Iridian Raingem says, not the a-hole. Choosing a woman as your best man may not be traditional, but your best man really should be your best friend. If your best friend just happens to be female, then it really should be her standing next to you on your wedding day. Weddings aren't as traditional as they used to be. Lots of wonky things are happening, the least of which being a female best mate. You have no reason to apologize, and your fiancé is seriously digging her heels in on this one. Your wedding is about both of you, not just her. Do not let her bully or guilt you into things you don't want. If it's that bad of a disagreement, maybe you need to put the wedding off for a little longer. Bear says, not the a-hole. I know I'm going to be crucified, but I don't necessarily see this as a big red flag. Provided, that is, that Jasmine is okay with your friendship in all other respects. Having a female best man is obviously not considered traditional, and because it's against tradition and somewhat of an unusual choice, you know there will be people raising eyebrows and whispering. Many people who don't know you very well, extended cousins of the bride for example, may think there's a deeper story going on here. I wouldn't want to walk down the aisle to whispers or see people give me sympathetic looks on my wedding day. I'm not saying you should care what other people think, especially when they're wrong, but I can see Jasmine being upset about it. Green Eyes Texas says, not the a-hole, but there are some bigger issues to consider here. First, that your fiancé is being so irrational. That's not a good sign. But the bigger issue is that it apparently only took a few moments of an argument for you to threaten calling off the wedding. It seems that at this point in the argument, she was giving you, admittedly stupid, reasons for not wanting a woman as your best man, and you went straight to calling off the wedding, supposedly the most important day for the rest of your life. In no way do I think she's being reasonable. She should trust you and want you to be surrounded by your best friends on your wedding day, but you very quickly offered to end the whole relationship. Newsflash, you're going to have stupid arguments when you are married. You can't just throw out the divorce card every time. So ask yourself if you are really ready to get married to this person. I strongly doubt it. Cecilia says, yes, you are the a-hole. I get your point of view, and I get hers. The takeaway is that no matter how much a friend means to you, when you get married, your fiancé becomes your family and is above anyone else. So no matter how important this friend is to you, your marriage is even more important. On the other hand, it is your marriage as well, and you have every right to choose a female as your best man. But your fiancé has the right to want to be the only important female by your side. Don't forget the people who will gossip about it. It isn't only your special day, it is hers too. I don't think anyone is an a-hole for their opinions, but here comes the part that I think makes you the a-hole. You basically said to your fiancé that if you don't get what you want, you're willing to cancel the wedding. What kind of relationship is this? Every time you want something that the other one doesn't, you will threaten to leave? You are the a-hole for abandoning your soulmate just because you didn't get what you want. So immature. Update. My fiancé and I ended up making up and reconciling a few days later. We were taking compromises, and it was still a touchy subject, but I thought it was going good and we'd recover. I wish I could end this drama at that. She's now my ex-fiancé. A little over 2 weeks after our fight, a friend of Jasmine's contacted me. She told me Jasmine had been venting to her friends over the Kate situation, and she couldn't keep quiet any longer because it wasn't fair to me. This friend sent me messages where Jasmine is talking about not trusting me and saying some pretty derogatory things about Kate. If that was it, I'd be angry but not furious. Long story short, the messaging turns into something more confusing, but I got the gist. Basically, Jasmine had an affair before we got engaged. It had allegedly been just one time with some guy she doesn't talk to anymore, but I don't know what to believe. Based on the messages, it seems like that was the case. Apparently all her friends knew about it, and I was being played the whole time. I talked to Jasmine and she denied it, but I told her I didn't care. She needed to leave. She threw a fit and refused to leave, so I left my own home again. I told her I'd tell everyone what she did if she didn't pack up her stuff and be gone by the time I returned. It worked. 2 days later, I came back and she was gone. She tried contacting me to set things right, but I'm not interested. She can keep the ring for all I care at this point. I just don't want to see her. I felt so stupid and worthless and embarrassed. I didn't tell anyone the reason we broke it off. No idea what Jasmine is telling people, and I don't care. The past month and a half has been a nightmare, but I've been slowly recovering my pride, and I'm trying to convince myself what she did was her fault, not mine. It works about half the time. And I know some of you are going to ask, because you think this was some stupid rom-com, but I didn't go running to Kate. I've hardly spoken to her or anyone else for a while now. I've been enjoying quarantine and being left alone. That's my final update on the situation. Those of you who said Jasmine was being paranoid because she had something to hide can go pat yourselves on the back. Corgi Huntress says, that sucks. And frankly, you should be talking to Kate, because you should be talking to your friends and getting their support, and clearly she's a really good friend, if not your best friend, so talk to her. Also, based on just this situation, 1. You're a good guy who stood by your best friend and your morals. 2. You're a good guy who tried to find compromise with your fiancé. 3. You're a good guy who trusted your fiancé and loved her. 4. You got involved with someone who turned out to be stupid and worthless, and she should be embarrassed for screwing you over. Don't let this experience ruin your faith in yourself. Every Name is Taken 000 says, sorry to hear that, but honestly not surprised. Cheaters tend to judge others by their own standards, so it makes sense that she would overreact to your female best friend. You are not stupid or worthless, and the embarrassment is hers, not yours. You deserve better in a relationship, and I hope you get it. Mr. Pickles-esque says, you should hold your head up high. You defended your best friend, stuck to your principles, and were able to weed out a toxic person from your life before it was too late. It sucks now, but you'll be able to look back on this moment proudly. I mean, imagine if you had sold out your best friend, gotten married, and then found out what kind of person Jasmine really was. Trust me, it doesn't feel like it, but you were better off. Ashbird says, there's often a reason why people act like that. Been married for 11 years this month, together over 16. I'm only 31, so yeah, practically my whole life. Over time, with no reason, my husband gradually became more and more insecure and accused me of cheating. Anyway, long story short, we split up recently because I found out that he was the one having the affairs. He was projecting onto me because he wanted to justify his actions. I'm not against reconciliation after cheating, but everyone has a boundary line. Mine took longer to get to. Better that you find out now than a decade down the road. I am so sorry you have to deal with this. Best of luck to you. Miss Dudykins says, this sucks so much. So sorry to hear. On the bright side, now you know why she was the way she was about Kate, because she thought you were going to cheat on her. I was married to a serial cheater, and let me tell you, you did the right thing. It is so hard in the beginning, and you might want to run back to her, but don't. You're going to feel low, worthless, like you're not good enough for love. Pretty much any negative thing your mind can think up. But it will pass, and you have to remember that you aren't those things. If I were you, I would tell everyone the honest truth about why the engagement was called off. It may feel embarrassing, but it's only embarrassing for her because it seems like she lost out on a great person and you dodged a very big bullet. She showed you who she really was and you had enough sense to do what is right for you. You will find the one that you are meant to be with. Good luck.